The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Little.
The chair recognizes Mr. Little to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is an amendment that is designed to communicate in the bill what Texas is doing in exercising its police powers and to lay out the rational basis for legislative findings concerning China, Iran, Russia, and North Korea. I move adoption.
Will the gentleman yield for a question?
Mr. Little, would you yield for a question?
I certainly will.
He
Can
will,
you
Mr.
explain
Christian.
that one more time? I couldn't really hear. You said it's doing what with these countries?
Yeah, I'm happy to articulate this. So the purpose for this amendment is to yield legislative findings to articulate the rational basis for the inclusion of China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea in this bill. And there are a series of findings by the legislature that are being articulated in pages 1 through 3.
So this is just clarifying why these countries are the ones that are technically on the list of who we're saying are foreign adversaries.
Yes, Representative Manuel.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Turner, for what purpose?
the gentleman yield for some questions.
Would you yield, Mr. Little?
I do.
He will.
Thank you, Representative Little. So you gave a pretty brief description of your amendment. Looking at it, it's a 3-page amendment,
It is.
so it's pretty detailed. So I'd like to just kind of walk through. It seems like you're laying out several findings country by country as a rationale for the bill. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So do you feel like the rationale for the bill as it comes to the floor is inadequate?
I don't think I would put it that way, Representative Turner.
Then what is the purpose of the amendment?
The purpose of the amendment is to articulate the basis for the exercise of police power by the state of Texas.
Okay, so you feel like the bill, as it comes to the floor, doesn't have that rationale?
No, I don't think that's accurate. I think this is providing some clarity and additional information.
Okay. So these are, I won't go through all of them. There's a lot here, but you have a lot of different findings: Russia's advanced cyber capabilities, Russia intentionally stokes political discord in the West, which I completely agree that is the case. We've seen that in the interference in our elections. But you have a lot of findings here. Did you consult with officials at the State Department or other foreign policy experts in our country to put this together?
The United States State Department, Department of State?
Yes, the U.S. Department of State.
Certainly not. This is an exercise of police power by the state of Texas.
Okay, but I understand that, but you are drawing conclusions related to foreign policy, and
No.
well, respectfully, I think you are. That you are talking about other countries, and you are making statements of fact in this amendment with respect to other countries. And so I think when we pass something that says this is the finding of the Texas legislature, I just want to make sure it's accurate. Like I said, just glancing at this, I haven't been able to read the whole thing, but glancing at it, I think there's certainly some things in here I agree with. There may be some things I don't necessarily agree with.
Take your time.
My question is, I'd like to know what foreign policy experts informed the composition of this amendment.
What foreign policy expert? This did not come from the United States Department of State. I think these are a series of indisputable facts, and maybe, or perhaps, Representative Turner, you feel that you can dispute them, but these findings are based upon primarily threat assessment from the United States intelligence community, but not the Department of State. And I think most of them are relatively uncontroversial. If you want to take issue with any of them, I'm happy to discuss them with you.
Again, for the third time, I'm not taking issue with any of them individually, but I am trying to understand how you settled on these. So you mentioned the threat assessment from, I didn't catch the agency.
Sure. If you take a look at Section A at the top of the amendment, it kind of gives you the point of origins. The legislature finds the following: as informed by the determination of the United States Director of National Intelligence in the 2025 Annual Threat Assessment of the U.S. Intelligence Community.
Okay, that helps answer my question.
I hope
Thank you. So all of these facts with respect to each country, those are contained in the 2025 annual threat assessment?
I wouldn't say facts. These are the findings that were issued by the U.S. Director of National Intelligence.
But they were all included in that annual threat assessment.
It's my understanding.
Okay. But you haven't read the threat assessment?
I don't have it in front of me, but this is a point of origin.
Okay.
I don't have the complete assessment. An annual threat assessment produced by the U.S. Department, or by the Director of National Intelligence is going to be far more detailed and voluminous than just related to these countries.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the gentleman yield for questions.
Would you yield, Mr. Little?
I will yield
He
for
will,
questions.
Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Little. Couple things. I know that you've referenced the DNI threat assessment. You also mentioned that this was an exercise of state power. So for the purposes of legislative intent, you and I are both lawyers. Findings are very critical parts of our record. Did you, in your exercise of state power, consult with any other member of the House when you composed these findings by way of this amendment?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I certainly haven't exercised any state power. I'm one representative here in the chamber, but I did not confer with any particular member in the House.
Yeah, and I'll clarify. I think in your exchange with Chair Turner asked you if you had relied on anything from the State Department. I believe your answer was, well, absolutely not. This is a exercise of our state power, state authority. I thought you said that. Did I mishear you?
I did say that, but the origin of the threat assessment is not the United States Department of State.
I understand, but I think it's your response that I was curious. I mean, if this is a state-derived finding, now what you've now clarified is findings from the DNI, which I can read on page 1, but I want to know that since these are being purported to be findings of our legislature, and you're conferring with other members of this body, either those standing with you, those sitting in their chairs, I just want to know that you run these findings by anybody to get their opinion as to whether they needed to be supplemented, or are they right, or did you just file them?
I just filed them.
Okay, and you recognize that when you do that arbitrarily, these findings, if adopted by the body, I guess become findings of this House, but as they've been introduced, these are findings as it relates to your crafting and filing and submitting this amendment. So these are your findings.
No, I would disagree with you.
Well, whose are they?
Well, as is explained at the top of page 1 of the bill,
Yes, sir.
the legislature finds the following as informed by the determination of the United States Director of National Intelligence in the 2025 annual threat assessment. The annual threat assessment is approximately 30 single-space pages, and it relates to a number of other things just besides these individual countries. So the findings that are indicated in the amendment are severely truncated compared to that voluminous document.
And I guess, you know, the magic word for me is at page 1, line 5, where the word informed is there, which means they help shape these findings. Are these verbatim extractions from the threat assessment report?
There may be some, thank you, Representative Martinez-Fisher. There may be some portions of them that are verbatim, but I think they're more done in summary than verbatim.
So it's a summation, or is it your summation? Is it Ledge Council's summation? Who summarized these findings?
It has, I would say it has several authors, and I couldn't tell you all of them.
Okay, well, and I asked you if you conferred with anybody, and you said you hadn't, so...
You asked me if I conferred with anyone in the House, and I have not.
Okay, well, then as to those authors, who are those authors?
My understanding is this is informed by at least me, Ledge Counsel. There may have been representatives in the Senate that are legal counsel as well. So it's really the product of a number of people coming together.
Okay, and I guess because we are presenting them now as an amendment that will, if adopted, will become findings of the House on the Senate bill, and you're going to represent to this body that the informed the ability, the fact that this was informed and shaped by the DNI third assessment report.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to just extend to finish my question.
Is there objection to the extension of time? Chair hears none. The time is extended. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just to make sure that I heard you correctly, the folks that helped shape this and summarize this were either members of the Senate or Ledge Council, but not any one of the 150 members of this House,
Other than me?
other than you.
No.
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Martinez Fisher, for what
Mr.
purpose?
Speaker, I'd like to have the exchange between Representative Little and I for the purposes of legislative intent be reduced to writing and placed in the journal.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection?
I object.
There's an objection. Members vote aye, vote no. It's a division vote. Record vote's been requested, or record vote's granted. The clerk will ring the bell. Please vote from your desk. Show Mr. Little voting no, Mr. Martinez Fisher voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 64 ayes and 74 nays, the motion to extend has failed. The remarks will not be printed in the journal. Mr. Martinez Fisher, for what
Mr.
purpose?
Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, the vote that we had was just a motion to reduce the exchange Representative Little and I had to place them in writing in the journal for the purposes of legislative intent. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and Mr. Speaker, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
It sounds like there's some confusion as to this. What is the proper vehicle to bring this vote back before the House?
Someone on the winning side must make the motion to reconsider, Mr. Martinez Fisher.
And that would be somebody who voted nay, Mr. Speaker?
Someone voting nay must make the motion to reconsider, Mr. Martinez Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Mr. Little for a motion.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Little.
I make a motion to reconsider the vote concerning placing the discussion between myself and Representative Martinez Fisher in the journal.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. So ordered. The motion, the question occurs on the motion to print the remarks in the journal. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. So ordered. Thank you, Mr. Little. The chair recognizes Mr. Wu to speak on the amendment.
Members, this is a performative amendment on a performative bill. It does adding this amendment onto this bill does nothing. It changes no law. has no effect on this bill. It's just for people to feel good. I would ask Oliver, if you're following me, vote 3, vote present not voting.
Mr. Little to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I'll just communicate to you, there's nothing performative about this amendment. I think this will be useful to the state of Texas should this bill ever be challenged for any reason. And I ask you to vote in favor of the amendment. I move adoption.
The question's on the adoption of the amendment. A record vote has been requested. A record vote is granted. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Mr. Little voting aye. Show Mr. McQueenie, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Hefner voting aye. Mr. Vasut voting aye. Have all members, this is a record vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 91 ayes, 0 nays, and 54 present not voting, the amendment is adopted.